Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about 5 practical tips to level up your game art today. You? Okay. Thanks. So my name, if you don't know me, my name is Yoneda. I do a lot of different things. I am art director at ENEME Inc. The Cade spoke earlier. I'm working with him right now. UX designer and co-founder of Sadie. I do marketing and branding and stuff in town. I'm a published manga creator. I think I love drawing manga and reading manga. And this is a new thing. I started teaching digital art to students at Tech Hub and in Seven Oaks School Division recently, and it's going so well. So yeah, today I'm gonna cover these 5 tips as the topics and a little bit bonus. Yeah, we're gonna check out these points one by one. These are some of the examples of my work. I think I'm a little bit better at character design and character concept art rather than the this kind of environmental stuff. I'm still learning and studying a lot, and that's the whole point of it today. I'm not coming from the angle that I'm the expert, the master of this craft whatsoever. I'm still learning. I still practice and struggle every day, and then I just want to share the discovery of my work, and then like my like again like my artworks and like how I make sure that looks good to the level I want it to look. So before we jump in, I want to define what's good game art. Um, I know that there are so many cool, like amazing artists in the community, and then again, like I don't mean to come off as like, hey, I'm the best. I'm not saying that. I am not that. But more so that I want to focus on the piece that sparks viewers' imagination and then like expands games world and story. Like I define that is more of a good game art rather than the high skills and like the very proper. I'm not really addressing that. I'm more so that like it's an aspect. It's kind of like a Malus Dev said. Like it's just game art is just one aspect of the game, and then like I want to make sure that that looks good. And then this talk is basically about that. Now that's out of the way, I want to cover the first point, first tip that always check the basics. So when something is not working right, I think it's always the basics. So why check the basics? Why? Because it's usually the basics. Like when something's off, just like I said, like something is off, if something doesn't feel right, and like something is not sitting right, it's usually the basics, whether it's a positions or color value or things like that. So always check that type of basics, and then also checking the basics and making sure the basics are all working. Uh, it solidifies the foundation of the piece. It gives the stability to the piece, and then basically it's more balanced, comfortable piece that you can create if you nail the basics. So this is an example. This is the piece that I did for the game we're working on at ENEME, and this is a very early like one of the concept art piece, and or like a mood piece that I drew. And then first, initially I drew this and I was pretty happy, and I left. I came back and I wasn't happy anymore. Something was off. I couldn't put my finger on it right away, but I stared at it quite a bit, and then I figured that this leg is weird. Anatomically, it's not accurate. So I kind of tweaked and adjusted and like bent it and like morphed it a little bit, and I kind of figured out what was weird. What was the source of this like discomfort or like offness of the piece. So I fixed it like this. Again, it was anatomically weird. The spine was not bent properly. The hip bone was tilted in the wrong way. And then most importantly, I was basically drawing the right leg as left leg, or left leg as right leg. And then that was a source of weirdness that I was feeling. So before or after, just a little bit, just like you said, mini Atkin. I'm sorry that I'm butchering your name, but like just like you said, it's a tiny thing, but like if you make the proper adjustment, the piece feels better. So the tips would be check for anatomy, perspective, color value, composition, and a visual contradiction. Visual contradiction is something like secretly you're drawing left hand spots or something. Check for those basic stuff, and it's always something related to that. And then don't dismiss your hunch, just like I did. Like don't dismiss your hunch. Like don't dismiss your something is off, something is weird. Don't dismiss that. It's usually human eyes are very accurate in a sense, amazingly. And then if you feel that uh, always pursue that and then like identify the source of it and like if possible fix it. That's a very important tip that I always think about. My go-to methods to check those basic stuff is pretty famous, pretty popular ones, but like a flip check is that like if you have a piece, you flip it horizontally and then make sure like there's no disfigured uh, disfiguration going on. Overnight check, just like I did. Um, Leave the piece, come back, and like see how you feel about that. Um, the third person check, I usually show it to my wife and see if I can, well, she can pick up something weird going on that stuff. So that kind of stuff. So again, check the basics. That's the number one thing. Number two, limit the color palette. Of course, sometimes you want to add more colors to it, like make it more vibrant and stuff. But I usually go with the route that like limiting the color palette. Why? Because it gives visual clarity, sharper impression, and more visual cohesion. Visual cohesion meaning that like it tightens up the piece. It tightens up the piece and like gives it a bit more unity to the piece. So it looks nicer in a way. Um, I want to give a special example um, provided by Liam, one of my fellow dev friends in the Winnipeg game community. That he's working on this game called City of None. And then as soon as I saw this video game, so it looks just wonderful. It's so beautiful. And then this shows exactly what the power of limited color palette can do. He explained it to me that like um, every section of the game has four different limited color palettes, and like every section you go through, I played the demo. Everything section you go through, it looks so nice. It's this fantastic feeling that you go through it that every the section like that. If you don't know the game, please check the website out. The he has a Bluesky, his brother has a Bluesky as well. Um, just wonderful. And then again, this is like the prime example of what limited color palette can do. Also, since we're talking about colors, um, make sure that you check your uh, piece in grayscale as well. By the surface look, like your color looks good on the color piece, but if you change it to the grayscale, sometime it would look off, and that means that your value structure is very off. And you might want to fix that to make sure that like every aspect you can make your piece look nice. So tips: theme around one color and add additional colors later if necessary. So that's what I usually do. I uh, I do the sketch and I say that okay, maybe this piece will be purple. So the impression that this piece will communicate is purple. And then to complement that, to support that main color, I add maybe yellow would be great. Maybe uh, bright pink would be nice to kind of support the main color, which is purple. So that's how I usually make the color palette. That's how I usually design the color palette for the piece. Um, And then just like I said, to check your piece in grayscale and make sure it looks still cool in black and white. Number 3, establish visual hierarchy. Why? Oh, before why, like, have you ever heard the term analysis paralysis? Anyone? Maybe not. Okay, so analysis paralysis, yes, June, of course you have. So analysis paralysis is that the too many. I use this term a lot for the UX design work, but basically it's the situation where like too many choices or too much information uh, freezes up your brain and like its thought process itself. So like you get confused, and then that in the end creates some kind of discomfort. Obviously, you don't want that. So why establish visual hierarchy? Well, obviously, it lowers the risk of analysis paralysis. Um, it, it organize and then clean up your piece, and then like it's easy to consume as a artwork. And also, it can naturally guide people's eyes. Like if you have like a good visual hierarchy structure or architecture, you can kind of like control like where people's eye go. Another special example. Thank you. Shout out to Rebecca um, for letting me use the piece, the key visual for her recently launched title, Free Ride. As soon as I saw this piece, like I thought, like okay, this is like really well composed key visuals. Game's already out there, so please check it out. But if you kind of dissect the piece a little bit, you can see the main focal point, secondary focal point, and then other focal point. Um, uh, Main focal point is like where you want to attract people's eye, right? And then so like it's most detailed and like that's the first thing that stands out in the piece. Secondary is to support that main focal point, and other like the circle that says other gives more vibe and then information about the world and so on. This structure is very nice, and then it's very clear where to look at in the piece. And then yes, uh, uh, rule of thirds is a little bit different. It's more of a visual weight. I can talk about that separately off the talk. But yes, that is also a way to make a good composition, especially like the photos and stuff. But anyway, the tips. Don't explain your joke. I'm not saying your piece, your artwork is a joke. I'm not saying that. I am usually telling this to myself as a reminder that like you can't go follow your art piece and like tell everybody and explain to everybody why you drew that piece, how you came up with the idea. You can't do that, right? So I think it's logical to make your piece very easy to understand, very easy to consume, so that people can comfortably take it in. And also overlay focus ring, just like you saw the hierarchy thing. Use that kind of tool to check the visual hierarchy is soundly in place. Next one, tip 4, make visual connection. Why? Because small visual connections can tell continuous, consistent, and expanding story of the piece and the game. You might have seen this piece before. This is it's actually not a game art. It's more like a game jam art. But this is a piece that I had the privilege to draw for last year's Extra Life Game Jam, and I obviously included the like a main theme of Extra Life as an organization, like a art, blue, or stuff like that. But also, I included some of like a video game related elements such as consoles and cassette controllers and things like that. That type of like almost like an Easter eggs create like a visual connection to the game jam itself or video gaming or like a gaming culture itself. And then that creates the depth, that creates the layers in the piece, makes it more fun, enriches the entire world of the piece. So, tips: understand the game story, character, and the world, as well as the genre, system, and game mechanics, and then hint these elements in the piece so that you can, well, hiding the Easter eggs is probably like another word to describe that, but doing so, you can actually make a connection easier to the piece that you're presenting. And the last point is the draw things you can't see. Why? Because reality is often supported by things you don't even pay attention to, like air and time and things like that. It adds so much with so little effort. And what I mean by that is, like, this is an example. Everyone probably knows this character, Zagreus from Hades, the first one. As soon as I saw this piece, like I thought this is cool because, and then this is a like a prime example of that point itself. If you take out his, I think these are leaves, right? If you take out these leaves, it kind of loses something because, sorry if you hear the siren, something that's going on out there. Oops. But yeah, if you take out those leaves, it loses something because these these leaves, the floating leaves, are representing uh, some kind of like airflow or maybe like his superhuman, like godly power, kind of emitting um, out of his body or something. It actually adds a little story and it makes you speculate what's going on with him, and that's kind of like what I mean by that. Like, draw something you can't see. You're basically by drawing these leaves, you're drawing like that unseeable forces around him, if you know what I mean. Oops. And my background is noisy. There's so many police cars going. Something is definitely going on there. But another special example, the Little Rocket League. Again, shout out to Kyle Schmidt for letting me use the piece as an example. As soon as I saw this piece, I thought that this is pretty cool because um, you can actually see the character dynamics, like the strong bond between these two characters without being told they have a good relationship. They are good friends. Um, in this piece, that you don't have to even explain, like, this is a lively, like very fun, cute type of game. And again, like, this is something that you're drawing something you can't see. Obviously, you can't see the friendship, but in this piece, you can clearly understand that's going on there. So tips: imply things like air, material, density, gravity, light, smell, temperature, sound, time, even like friendships and then love, trust, that kind of stuff. You can you can draw those kind of things, or you can imply those things by drawing something that represent that. And then that actually creates the room for viewers' imagination. Let them ask let them ask like, hey, what's going on in that piece? Hey, these are doing something. These characters doing something. Maybe that means that. That's a speculation. That's the imagination of viewers. So those are the 5 points. But I want to give the bonus. The bonus would be the word practice. So obviously, if you want to get better at drawing or like any type of creative outlet, you got to practice. And then a lot of people often say practice makes perfect. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but with that statement, but I do feel that it's also inaccurate. I do think that practice makes stability, not perfect. Practice makes stability, stability assures quality, and quality bears gravity. Gravity means attraction. It attracts people, right? So practicing, um, you can't get to the perfection by just practicing. You have to, um, like you have to be able to, especially like if you're a professional, like you have to be able to provide constant quality with very stable quality is very, very important. If you can provide that, it attracts people. And if you remember the title of this presentation, it's 5 practical tips to level up your game. If you bear that gravity, that's a level up. So keep leveling up. I hope my tips. Sorry, I had a little bit of interruption outside. There's like there's like some kind of police presence going on there, but I hope my tips would help your game art. And if you have any questions or like if I misspoke something, please bug me on Discord. I'm always there. And yeah, thank you very much for listening to my talk.